luck. We're all down over here, so I'm gonna be going through this. It's like so hard for me to wrap around the idea of what investment banking is. Get into RBC Women's Advisory Program, Core Women's Program, City Early ID, and Silly Discovery Series, Calvin Women's Program, Lincoln International Women in Finance Investment Banking Shadow Program. I feel really weird talking because my dad, his room is right next to mine. I don't want people to hear me talk when I'm filming. Anyways, hi guys. I posted a poll on Instagram to see what you guys want me to cover in my YouTube videos, and the most requested one was to share my journey to investment banking and explain how I broke into banking from a non-target school. So I guess we'll do that. I tend to ramble a lot, so bear with me please. I'm gonna break down this video into different sections from my freshman year until my junior summer internship at an investment banking firm. I know a lot of you have started the school semester already and are searching for a potential career path to look into, so hopefully this is a good timing. Okay. It all started when I got accepted into Binghamton University's School of Management program called SOM. Binghamton is known for placing a lot of their students into Big Four accounting firms. And at the time, that was my dream. I really wanted to work at a Big Four, specifically Deloitte. I don't know why, it just sounded really cool. Freshman year, the theme for this time period is exploration. So my end goal was to work for a Big Four accounting firm, but I guess a part of me still wanted to explore around a lot. I joined pretty much all of the professional clubs in SOM, from a finance society to our marketing club to management consulting, women in business program, Ascend, you name it. And one of my courses in SOM were required to compete in a case competition. I decided to do a marketing case competition and our finance society's annual M&A case competition. The marketing one I had a lot of fun on. I think our team made it to the finals round. The M&A case competition was not what I expected at all. There was so much work, just a lot of research, learning how to model from scratch, building assumptions, and then giving final recommendation for an M&A transaction. And then our school also required us to attend career and networking events. I was lining up to a lot of Big Four firms, and every time I introduced myself, the reaction was always,
"Oh my god, you're just a freshman, it's so good that you're here, but let me go pay attention to this junior because they actually need a job."
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, so during my freshman year, first semester, our school also offered an employer's trek, and we're back in the city for winter break. Visit companies that we had indicated interest for. I had put all accounting firms because I really wanted to land a job at a Big Four, but my application to visit these accounting firms were all rejected. I got thrown into a bunch of banks, funny enough. Visited Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and one other bank that I don't remember, but I remember I was so depressed because I wanted nothing to do with finance because I was terrified of that industry. I think that was my calling. So yeah, that wraps up my freshman first semester. It's a lot of exploring, a lot of jumping around, testing the waters, figuring out what I want to do. Now we enter second semester. So during the second semester, I met a lot more mentors. One of the mentors that I met asked me, "Why do you want to pursue accounting?" and told them that I wanted a stable job, and I knew that Binghamton was going to place me in a Big Four accounting firm. They ended up telling me it's not a good enough reason to pursue a career just because it's the safest option, which I think is really good advice. I was just a freshman and there was so much time and potential for me to figure out what I wanted to do. I talked to my mentor again and he asked me, okay, like, what are you interested in? And I was like,
you talking about like from a business perspective? Because I know I'm interested in business, but I don't know exactly what I want to do in it.
He was like, no, just like, what do you like? What are your hobbies? And I was like,
I love fashion, I love dogs, I love food.
He was like, okay, and then he gave me this list of a bunch of companies in the consumer industry, fashion vertical, food and bev vertical, and he just told me to look at these companies and showed me all the different roles that existed within a company, and I was just mind blown. I think at the time I had a tunnel vision and I was just shook to see that a lot of these roles existed. So then the big question came again. He was like, okay, which of these interest you the most? And I was like,
I don't know.
and then my mentor told me, if you don't know what you want to do, just aim for the hardest one, because if you can get something at this level, then your exit opportunities are going to be tremendous once you figure out what you want to do. And that kind of like sparked something in me. So then the two options that I had was either investment banking or management consulting. I didn't know anyone within my circle who were ever placed into really good management consulting firms, so I kind of just threw that out the window and decided to look into investment banking. So the thing with me is I'm a very conceptual learner, so whenever I learn about something new, I like to start literally from the beginning, from the foundation. It was like so hard for me to wrap around the idea of what investment banking is, you know. That was getting me frustrated, so I just created a document and like a dictionary for myself and just did all my research, did my homework to see what bankers actually do. Those sources like Wall Street Oasis, Wall Street Prep, Mergers and Inquisitions, those are all really helpful. Oh my god, I made a whole freaking table of content. Oh my gosh. There's like investment banking, sales and trading, equity research, and for investment banking I put the positions and hierarchies in the different banks, Citi, Goldman, JP Morgan, the difference between product groups and coverage groups, and then the section on equity research. Oh my god, I'm like really type A. There's also a document on bank sizes, so I learned about the difference between bulge brackets, middle markets, elite boutiques, and just like listed down all the companies within each, the pros and cons of working for a bigger versus smaller bank. Yeah, I kind of went ham trying to like dig into this industry, and I guess at one point I was like,
I'm like in really deep. Let me just keep going.
In the beginning, I think it was a mix of being attracted to the salary of investment banking, the prestige of it, and the exit opportunities. So that's how I got started. I started to become a bit more focused. I ended up interviewing and getting into our school's Women in Finance program, which was really helpful for me because they paired you up with one mentor who interned in investment banking already. So the program was really helpful. A program of maybe 10 girls, and we had weekly meetings where we just learned more about the front office finance industry, investment banking, sales and trading, and equity research. So basically everything that I was researching on my own, I was now learning it in a lesson format. They gave a lot of interview advices, networking advices, like all of that. And we were required to network with either an alum or an upperclassman who has interned at banking, I think. The program kind of really pushed me to do a lot. The theme of the second semester, I would say, is building a finance foundation. Now that I figured out that I want to pursue investment banking, I needed to get my resume up to speed and have more finance related things in it. I applied and got into the Women in Finance program that I was talking about. I also applied to our school's investment fund, which I didn't think I was gonna get into, but somehow like I prepped a lot with my mentor from Women in Finance and I ended up getting in. Also, I went a little bit crazy with applying to a lot of professional development and career programs. I'm looking at my resume right now, and here's a list of what I did my freshman year. Deloitte Leadership and Excellence Program, Stout Career Primer, Mark's Paneth Super Day, Baker Tilly Spend a Day, BKD Leadership Day. None of these were really financy roles, but I just wanted to have that stamp on my resume that I did professional related programs. And now summer is rolling around. I really wanted to get an internship, but I didn't think I was gonna get one. Remember I told you I was going to a lot of the career and networking events? Every single recruiter that I met, their reactions were, oh my god, you're just a freshman. It's good that you're doing this right now, but we don't offer any positions for freshmen because you're too young. So I told myself I was probably just going to get, you know, a regular retail job for the summer just for some money. But then my mentor, every single day, he sent me like dozens and dozens of application links from Indeed, from LinkedIn, from Handshake, literally every single job platform you can think of. Like every single day he was sending me links to tell me to apply. That kind of really overwhelmed me, but I applied to it, you know. A handful of them got back to me. I maybe did 5 or 6 different interviews, Ended up getting 3 offers. All these offers were non-paid, so I was willing to sacrifice the money to just have an experience, you know. I got into Love Shack Fancy's accounting internship. I also got into this other small accounting remote job, some private equity firm. I ended up interning at a consulting company for international businesses, and they had an investment arm, so the manager let me do some equity research for their portfolio. So now freshman summer is here, and the theme for this is networking. I actually tried to film this last night. I'm gonna insert a clip. I started by networking with people from consumer companies, dog food companies, sock companies, beauty brand companies, to practice networking, and these felt like weren't as high stake as talking to investment bankers. So I reached out, I cold emailed a bunch of people and told a lot of them, hey,
I'm just a freshman. This is my first time networking. I don't really know how to do these calls.
Most of the time they were really nice when I played that freshman card, and then my mentor told me, okay, now that you've done these calls, you're ready to talk to investment bankers. I started by reaching out to Binghamton alums who were in the investment banking industry, in the front office industry, and then from there I also started cold emailing a lot of random people from other non-target schools because I felt like they were more likely to respond to me. I did get a couple of bad calls. I remember calling someone from bulge bracket, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but treated it like an interview style. First thing he asked me was, what school are you from? Binghamton University. And then he told me, oh,
you should try networking with a smaller bank because I don't think you have a chance here.
I remember I was about to cry after that call because that's so mean. Just power through it, you know. I try to do 1 or 2 calls every other day. One of the coffee chats that I had was a Binghamton alumni, and he told me to connect with the dean at our School of Management. And I was also reading up on a bunch of materials. So freshman year, I got accepted into the investment fund program, but we have to take this entrance exam sophomore year to solidify your position in there. Now we've entered sophomore first semester. I focused a lot on during this time was more networking, resume building, finance experiences, and most importantly, applications. So because I'm a girl, I qualify for diversity programs, and a lot of banks were rolling out their diversity programs for sophomores. I talked to the dean, a good conversation with him, and just, you know, continued doing my own thing. So our school has this partnership with Jeffries, an equity research externship program. I applied for that. I interviewed. I think for this, my networking really helped a lot, at least within Binghamton. So in Binghamton, the finance circle is pretty small. So because I was in the Women in Finance program and was active in Finance Society and was in our school's investment fund, or the e-board members of these clubs recommend a list of students who are serious about this industry. They submit that list to our professor, who then scrubs through that list and submits it to reviewers at Jeffries. I went back to the city to do an in-person interview and went through 7 different rounds and ended up doing my externship for the semiconductors industry. I now have an investment bank's name on my resume, which is a good stamp to have on your resume. I interviewed and got in my first semester, and then that externship was for the following semester. Then I also applied to our school's investment banking bootcamp program. So at this point on my resume, I think I had a good amount of finance related experiences from my equity research summer internship, now this upcoming Jeffries equity research externship. I also did like a real estate internship with another investment bank my first semester, and then the investment banking bootcamp. Around this time, I heard that our school also offered this investment banking scholarship to 1 or 2 students in SOM. I didn't really expect to get in, but I somehow got it. And I wanted to talk about how I landed the scholarship. So it was because I networked with the dean. I found out the dean was the interviewer. He remembered that we had chatted. So during our interview, I'm pretty sure all he asked me was really basic events questions, and then he asked me how I've been, what I've been up to, and who else I've networked with so far, and how my investment banking recruitment journey is going. My other friends who had interviewed were asked really technical questions. To this day, I still think that I got that offer from networking. So yeah, now that's another thing to add on to my resume. And as I was getting more and more ramped up and getting more finance achievements, my confidence was slowly starting to build up. So I started applying to diversity programs, which I ended up getting into a good amount of them. Looking at my resume again, he got accepted into RBC Women's Advisory Program, Evercore Women's Program, City Early ID and Silly Discovery Series, Calwin Women's Program, Lincoln International Women in Finance Investment Banking Shadow Program. The Lincoln International Investment Banking Shadow one was really cool because they flew me out to Chicago. Two of the banks that I did diversity programs with, they paired me up with a mentor and accelerated super day. So that wraps up my sophomore year first semester. Now, for my sophomore year second semester, this was the time when I was interviewing. So that investment banking bootcamp that I was talking about, we had weekly meetings and lessons on accounting, different valuation methods, how to build a DCF, all of that good stuff. Weekly mock interviews with a different person in Finance Society's e-board, give you a score, and if you don't improve the next week, they just yell at you. That was quite intense, but super helpful. He gave us this street prep book. It's in hundreds of technical questions that they ask you, and we had to memorize that. We were quizzed on it in class. That forced me to study a lot of my technicals. My super day for one of the banks was coming up. I did a lot of calls with my mentor that they paired me up with. He kind of walked me through all of the mock behavioral interviews, and then I did most of my technical interviews with the seniors at Binghamton. Was freaking out. This was also right when COVID hit, so I was actually supposed to take the bus to go back to New York City to interview for this bank, but everything turned virtual last minute. And I think there were 3 rounds to junior and then a couple of MDs, and then that night they told me I got the offer and I was about to cry. For the entire past 1 year, I have just been heavily recruiting. I disappeared from the face of earth. I didn't see any of my friends, and I just kept telling everyone that once I get my offer, I'm gonna go out and party more. I just kept saying that, and I finally got my offer. So around that time, I was still in the middle of preliminary rounds for the other diversity programs I was in. A couple of upperclassmen recommended that I just take the offer that I got because no one knew what was going to happen with COVID, you know. The diversity programs that I was in canceled their in-person event because of COVID, so I was kind of getting freaked out and scared that if I didn't take this offer, I wouldn't get anything else. So I emailed HR from the other firms that I was in and just told them that I want to pull out because I received an offer. So that was that. The second semester of sophomore year, everyone was sent back home and we were quarantined for a long time, and it sent me to depression. The next 2 years at Bing, I kind of just chilled. I tried to have fun. I joined more social clubs and went out more. I got a tattoo and I dyed my hair, and I just went through this whole phase. I hope this video was interesting or helpful to you.
Okay, before I end this video, I just want to thank everyone for we freaking reached over 1,000 subscribers in 3 months. I did not expect that to happen. My colleagues advised me against creating this YouTube account because they told me nobody was gonna watch my videos and that I should just stick to my TikTok, but here we are now. Please subscribe